Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Iti Namine Prema Bhakti Rasanandam Kripa Sindhu Mamananam Pragapayandam Vande Sri Bhakti Vedanta Narayanam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Srishtam Manumabhisachi Putramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajamurupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Gurum Tam Natosmi. So today we're doing the Brahma Samhita class a little earlier than usual because of a schedule conflict, so it will be available on streaming. Today we are covering verses 22 and 23 of the fifth chapter. Evam sarvatma sambandham nabhyam padmam harerabhut tatra brahma bhavad bhuyash chaturvedi chaturmukha. The lotus flower that emerged from the area of Sri Vishnu's navel contained the collective bodily conception of all living entities. The four-headed Brahma, who is the knower of the four Vedas, was manifested from that lotus. Tika translation by Srila Jiva Goswami. Then the lotus flower that was the resting place of all living entities emerged from the Purusha who had entered his hidden abode. So that Purush is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So Mahavishnu, within the Mahavishnu rested all the living entities during the night, during the time of dissolution of all the universes. So when all the universes have been withdrawn within the body of Mahavishnu, then all of the jivas are resting within Mahavishnu. Then Mahavishnu is expanded as each universe is coming from the pores of his body, as described in previous verses. He has entered as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And now that lotus has come from Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Thereafter, Hiranyagarbha Brahma, the possessor of the collective bodily identification, manifested. After that, four-headed Brahma, the knower of the four Vedas, emerged as the embodiment of enjoyment from Hiranyagarbha. So this concept of Hiranyagarbha Brahma and Chaturmukh, four-headed Brahma, this is an important distinction. It is a bit subtle and it's a little hard to understand because we think of four-headed Brahmaji who is sitting on a lotus flower. He is also called Kamalasana in the Kirtan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Narada Muni Bhajai Vina. He is described as Kamalasana, the one who sits on the lotus flower. But Hiranyagarbha Brahma is of Vishnu Tattva. He is Bhagavan's power of creation. And from Hiranyagarbha Brahma, four-headed Brahma has come. But we want to think of, oh, is there a separate Hiranyagarbha Brahma? Has anyone drawn a picture of him? No. It is Hiranyagarbha Brahma whose power is coming within the four-headed Brahma. So there is a distinction there. So the four-headed Brahma appeared from the lotus that came from the area of Shri Hari's navel, and whose flower and stem are the resting place of the 14 planetary systems. So the lotus flower and the stem of the lotus flower contain the raw ingredients for the 14 planetary systems. All of the ingredients are there. It has to be unpacked. And Brahmaji is empowered by Bhagavan to do this work of creation. Here, embodiment of enjoyment means that Brahma's present four-headed body is a repository of material enjoyment made according to the impressions of desires to enjoy the fruits of his actions from the previous creation. Because of his previous impressions, he desired to create the material world as soon as he appeared. So all of the desires of the living entities are present within the body of Chaturmukha Brahma. So Chaturmukha Brahma has appeared from the navel, and he has come from Hiranyagarbha Brahma, who is Vishnu Tattva. But within his body, there are the various impressions of desires and desires to, oh, I am curious how to taste all these varieties of enjoyment as a Gandharva, as a Deva, as an Asura, and so forth. For every living being within the creation of Brahma, it is quite a fascinating creation. So Brahmaji now has already got the impetus to create because of previous impressions. That is what is being explained here. Tatparya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This will help us to understand this a little better in context. This lotus flower, which is the resting place of the aggregate of the living entities, was manifested from the Purusha, who had entered his hidden abode, namely the egg-shaped universe. In other words, this is the lotus flower which has come from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and now the aggregate of living entities, all of the Jivatmas who are going to enter the various bodies created by Brahmaji, are residing within the lotus flower as well. Four-headed Brahma, who is the embodiment of enjoyment, took birth from Hiranyagarbha Brahma, the personification of the collective bodily conception. So Hiranyagarbha Brahma is being described as the manifestation of the collective bodily conception. So ahankara is the idea of bodily conception. It is not possible for the jiva to identify with matter unless there is a template, unless there is an example. So Hiranyagarbha Brahma is the template. He is the example. How the living entity can become embodied, can identify with the self, and now it is possible. So sa aikshata, he saw. Um, and all of these are statements from the Vedas, how creation has taken place. First, Bhagavan has to see, then we have the power to see. First, Bhagavan has to smell, then we have the power to smell, and so forth. Four-headed Brahma is known as a delegated authority. Just as Brahma is understood to be a delegated authority, it is similarly understood that he is a part and parcel of Krishna in the category of his separated expansions. So this is also a lot to unpack. There is one verse which is describing Bhasvanyatashma Shakalesha Nijeshu Teja. This is later in Sri Brahma Samhita. This verse which is describing that Brahmaji is like a gem who is reflecting the light of the sun, and so Brahmaji is empowered to create. This is the meaning of delegated authority. He has been given the power, and he is also a separated expansion. So he is Vibhinamsha. He is a separated expansion. So Hiranyagarbha Brahma is an expansion of Bhagavan, and Chaturmukha Brahma also is a separated expansion. He has been given special power. His Atma is not like ours. He has more power of Bhagavan. He has power to create. So it is very hard for us. We cannot even conceive the structure of the universe. Sometimes people want to make a little model of the structure of the universe, say, oh, look, here is the Bhumandala planetary system, like a big dinner plate, and we can make mountains. Oh, because the dimensions are given. But those dimensions do not make sense if we try to translate into our little tiny puny brains reckoning. Anyway, this is described Brahmaji. The next verse kind of goes along with this. So let's move on to the next verse. Sanjato bhagavat shaktya tatkalam kila choditaha sisrikshayam matim chakre purva sanskara sanskritam dadarsha kevalam dhvantam nanyat kimapi sarvataha. After manifesting from the lotus flower, Brahmaji, who is empowered by Bhagavan's potency, absorbed his mind in the subject of creation according to his previous impressions. However, he saw nothing but darkness in all four directions. Tika translation by Srila Jiva Goswami. Now, the activities of four-headed Brahma are being described in this verse, beginning with Sanjataha. First of all, Brahmaji wanted to create the material world. However, he saw nothing but darkness all around. Okay, so there's a desire to create the world, but there is nothing. It's completely black, completely dark. Now, this is following what is described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And now this is what is being described in the Tika. Furthermore, we find the following description in Srimad Bhagavatam. When Brahma appeared from the lotus flower, he began to situate himself in its pericarp. The pericarp, the little thing in the middle where it is the place where Brahmaji sits. But he could not see anything because of the dense darkness. Brahmaji wanted to see by casting his glance in four directions at once, and in so doing, he manifested four faces in the four directions. At that time, when the cosmos had been dissolved, so we can understand four-faced Brahma has manifested four faces to see in four directions. In other universes where Brahmaji has more faces, there are more directions. That means that there are more dimensions involved. And again, it is way out of the scope of our tiny, tiny, puny little intellect. At that time, when the cosmos had been dissolved and the vast waters were agitated into whirlpools by the force of the wind, Brahma, the original demigod, was situated in the lotus flower that had emerged from the water. So this is a description from the Bhagavatam, which is describing the creation at the beginning of the day of Brahmaji. It is not necessarily in Brahma Samhita, it is describing in the context of the universe has come from the pores of Mahavishnu, and then Mahavishnu has entered within each universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. But there is also a creation that takes place at the beginning of each day of Brahma. So in Brahma Samhita, we are describing day one of Brahmaji's life. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, we are describing every morning routine for Brahmaji. So Brahmaji could neither factually understand the situation of the world nor of his own self. Being seated on the upper surface of the lotus flower, he began to consider, who am I? What is the origin of this unique lotus flower within the water? How did it appear? There must definitely be something below it, and this lotus flower must also be situated upon some supporting base. Deliberating in this way, Brahmaji entered the path formed by the hollow within the middle of the lotus stem. So he began to climb down going in the hollow of the lotus stem, trying to see where has this come from. Still, despite approaching the base of the lotus stem, namely Narayana's navel, he was incapable of understanding anything even after making extensive research. Retiring from his investigation with his ambition unfulfilled, Brahmaji returned once more to his sitting place on top of the lotus flower. There he sat in a posture for meditation, and by controlling his breathing, he gradually concentrated his consciousness by introspection. So this is in the writings of our acharyas. There is always a reference to Srimad Bhagavatam. And here, this description in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is describing how Brahmaji appeared, saw that there was darkness. He climbed down the lotus and he came to the base of the lotus, but still could not understand what is going on, how this has come about. So he went to sit on top of the lotus flower and control his breathing, focus his consciousness, and engage in meditation and tapasya, which is what will be described beginning from the next verse. Tatparya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Due to Brahmaji's previous impressions, he had a desire to create. Every living entity acquires a particular nature in accordance with his previous impressions, and in accordance with his nature, different types of endeavors appeal to his heart. This is called adrishta, or unseen, because it is the fruit of action performed in previous lives. So action is a continuous process. We say karma. Karma means action. Karma also means karma phala, the fruit of action. But karma has different stages. The first stage is seed, the seed of desire. It becomes planted in the heart and it gradually sprouts. Now it is called rudha or uta. It is now sprouted and it is beginning to make itself felt and manifest in the form of desires. Now, karma comes in the form of aprarabdha. It is now, has not yet been executed, but the intention to perform action has now manifested from the desire. And finally, the action takes place and it is now prarabdha karma, karma which has been done and for which the fruit is being received. In Brahmaji's heart was the desire to create just as he had done in the previous creation. Similarly, certain qualified living entities may also attain the position of Brahma. It is also said, we have heard that if there is no qualified living entity, then Bhagavan himself, Hiranyagarbha Brahma, may actually take this role of Chaturmukha Brahma and perform these actions of creation. So these two verses, 22 and 23, are describing how Brahmaji has appeared, how Brahmaji has seen this darkness, has wondered what is the origin, and now he has sat himself down with controlled breathing on top of the lotus flower to meditate and try to get some understanding. So this is describing the process of how the living entity becomes entangled in fruitive activities. It has to begin. Brahmaji remains in a transcendental position. He is called Parameshti. And our Brahmaji, as we will learn later in this Brahma Samhita, is a devotee of Bhagavan. In fact, he is the original acharya of our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we have highest respect for him. But his role is to provide that template by which the living entities can become entangled in various things. So for example, we see that someone is enjoying. We see someone is living in a very nice house. Oh, this person has a swimming pool. They have a 7-car garage. They drive the best cars. Um, this man has a very beautiful wife, or this woman has a husband who's very attentive to her desires. And we think, oh, look, this is so nice. I wish I had this. As soon as we say, I wish, this is the seed of desire. We are planting more seeds of karma in our heart. So we have to give up anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. We have to give up all of our desiring, all of our I wish, I want, oh, this looks very nice. Because this world, it is like the illusion, it is like the demo that has been created. Demos are famous in the software industry where I've worked for many decades now, and the demo always looks really good, and then the actual thing, it will sometimes fall apart. So this material world is like a software demo. It's not real. It doesn't actually work the way that we think. We think, oh, look, I will become the controller. I will be the enjoyer. I will be so happy if only I have this. If I have the nicer big screen TV, if I have the bigger house, if I have the beautiful wife or the amazing husband. Oh, I want to have, and this will make me happy. And it doesn't make us happy. But this is the process of creation, and we are understanding this process of creation and how everything has come from Bhagavan. And this will take us beginning our journey and going up and understanding the higher realm, and especially what Brahmaji will have darshan of, which is in these upcoming verses. We have now almost come to the point where Brahmaji will have darshan of Goloka Vrindavan. And that is the most nectarian part of this Shastra. Okay, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga, Gandharva Giridhari Radhavanod Lila Radhavanod Bihari Jiyu Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.